Anze was too afraid to go to school because of the bullying she experienced there, but what she didn't expect was that the bullies would gather right outside her house. Even after she shut all the doors and windows tightly, her classmates refused to leave. They even shouted cruel, sarcastic things through the door. This kind of suffocating feeling, perhaps only someone who's been bullied can truly understand. At that moment, Anze wished her parents would come home from work early. From then on, taking leave from school became her new normal. Fortunately, her mother respected her wishes. She always comes up with various reasons to excuse Anze to the teachers. After her mother left for work, Anze stayed home, doing nothing in particular, but she still ate and slept on time, as if the entire world had nothing to do with her. One day, she saw Tojo drop another letter into her mailbox. Tojo was a new transfer student. Since they lived near each other, she became her only friend. The envelope contained school announcements. Just then, Anze heard a sound behind her. When she turned around, she saw the mirror in her home glowing. Curious, she reached out to touch it. A powerful force pulled her in, and she couldn't break free. She was sucked into the mirror. When she woke up, Anze found herself in a strange place. A girl wearing a wolf mask stood before her. This place was a castle standing in the middle of the ocean, and the girl was the master of the castle, the Wolf Queen. Anze was terrified by this sudden turn of events. All she wanted was to leave right away, but the Wolf Queen pounced on her and pinned her to the ground. She had already welcomed 6 others before Anze, so she no longer had the patience to explain things calmly. She dragged Anze by the legs into the castle. 6 other people sat on the stairs. They too had entered the castle through mirrors in their own homes. After arriving, they had simply been waiting here. The Wolf Queen explained that this mission couldn't begin until all 7 people had arrived. Inside the castle, there was a wishing room that could grant any wish, but only one person would be chosen. The 7 of them had until March 30th of the following year to find the key that opened the wishing room. During this time, they could come to the castle through the mirror each day at 9 a.m., but they had to leave before 5 p.m. Otherwise, they'd be devoured by wolves that roamed the castle, and the danger didn't stop there. If someone got devoured, others could be dragged down with them. The person devoured by the wolves would also disappear from the real world. At that moment, it was already 4:30. The Wolf Queen gave them a tour of the castle. In the little time they had left, they got to know each other. What they all had in common was that they were middle school students. Then the warning bell rang at 4:45. Soon after, they returned to the real world through the mirror. Back home, Anze found herself doubting the whole experience. It all felt too surreal to be true. Before long, it was already June. The mirror continued to open up daily, offering a path to the castle, but Anze hadn't stepped through it even once. Maybe it was because she didn't have a wish she truly wanted granted. Today, Tojo came by again to deliver school notices. Anze suddenly realized she hadn't been to school in a long time, so she decided she would go to school tomorrow. After school that day, Sanada pulled Tojo away from Anze. She often used this tactic to isolate Anze and bully her. In that moment, Anze finally had a wish she wanted to come true. She wished for all the pain to disappear. The next day, she went to the castle. The others weren't seriously looking for the key. They treated the castle like an escape from reality. Each person did their own thing, so Anze searched for the key alone, but she found nothing, not even a clue. Just as she was about to leave, she ran into Ryan. It was the first time a boy had spoken to her like that. She didn't know how to respond. Meanwhile, the others came out too. It turned out this was only Anze's second time visiting the castle. Everyone was surprised to see her after so long, because unlike her, they had all been coming every single day. Feeling their kindness, Anze decided she would start coming more often. The next day, as soon as she arrived, Inoue stopped her. Inoue told her that the boys and girls areas in the castle were separate. The castle was beautifully designed, but had no food. Anze wanted to ask them what their wishes were, but the words stuck in her throat. She didn't want to reveal her own secret. Over time, they got along well. Almost every day, they came to the castle together, and no one ever pried into each other's personal experiences. They were content with this way of life. Before long, it was July, and summer vacation was approaching. Fewer and fewer people came to the castle. Some had cram school, others went to summer camp. Anze opened her math textbook, but couldn't concentrate on a single word. That evening, her mother noticed she hadn't been home at noon, so she said it was good for Anze to get out more. Her mother also mentioned that the school counselor, Kitajima, wanted to talk with her. Time flew by, and the 2-month summer break came to an end. All 7 of them gathered again at the castle. To everyone's surprise, Subaru had dyed his hair yellow, which gave him a completely new look. At that moment, Haruka could no longer suppress his emotions. He revealed that he had been bullied by classmates and hadn't been to school in a long time. His words instantly resonated with everyone, because they had all gone through similar experiences. Suddenly, Haruka announced, "I'm going back to school. To do the thing you're all too afraid to do." With that, he left the castle. By the end of September, Haruka returned to the castle. He had some new injuries on his body, and the enthusiasm he once had was gone. No one excluded him. Instead, they invited him to play a board game. Haruka said that after returning to school, he tried talking to his classmates, but ended up getting into an argument, and they beat him up. Haruka felt that maybe the castle was the only place where he truly belonged. Anze also noticed that Inoue was coming to the castle less frequently. It turned out Inoue had gotten a boyfriend. One evening, while Anze was retrieving a letter, she ran into the school counselor, Kitajima. Kitajima said she completely understood why Anze didn't want to go to school, and that if she ever wanted to return, she was always welcome. Before leaving, Kitajima left her some tea. By October, the mood inside the castle began to grow tense, with less than half a year left before the deadline. Even though everyone pretended not to care, they were all secretly searching for the key, but no one had found anything. Eventually, they decided to search together. They made a pact: if someone finds the key, don't make a wish right away. None of them wanted to leave too soon, but even after searching the entire day, they didn't find a single clue. Just as they were about to leave, the Wolf Queen suddenly appeared. It was because they had finally learned the importance of unity, and the reason she appeared was that she had something important to tell them. If someone found the key and made a wish, they would lose all memories of the castle, but if they failed to find the key before the deadline, the memories would remain. So whether the memories stayed or vanished would be entirely up to them. The next day, Inoue decided she would find the key and make a wish. After all, they would eventually have to leave. They had to face the real world sooner or later. That's when Anze finally shared her own experience at school. It was the first time she had felt true fear and despair. She had never told anyone about it before, maybe because she could relate. Inoue gave her a hug. At the start of November, they searched for the key every day, but made no progress. Until one day, Ryan discovered a strange music box. He seemed to recognize it, and quickly managed to make it play a tune. Everyone gathered around. Suddenly, a scream came from the living room. It was Inoue. Seeing everyone, she tried to act normal. Anze recognized the uniform she was wearing. It was the same uniform from their school. So they all sat down and shared their stories. It turned out that they all went to the same school, but each of them had their own reasons for rarely attending. After hearing everyone's experiences, Anze suddenly found the courage. She told her mother about the bullying she had suffered. Her mother blamed herself for not realizing it sooner and promised to face it together with her. In early December, her mother met with Anze's homeroom teacher, but the teacher didn't take the matter seriously at all. Seeing this, her mother refused to back down. She demanded to speak with the principal. Seeing her mother stand up for her so strongly, Anze felt a sense of admiration for the first time. The next day, Masamune told everyone that his father had pulled some strings to transfer him to a different school, but before that happened, he wanted to meet everyone in real life, so they agreed to meet at the school's infirmary. Anze, who hadn't been to school in a long time, finally worked up the courage to go, but at the entrance, she ran into Tojo. Neither of them said a word. That's when she noticed a letter on her shoes. It was signed by Sanada, the one who had bullied her. The letter was an apology that the homeroom teacher had made Sanada write. Knowing Anze would be coming to school that day, the teacher had given Sanada the day off. At the end of the letter, Sanada said she wanted to meet with Anze. Anze felt this was more of a threat than an apology. She continued to the infirmary, but found only the school nurse there. None of the others had shown up. Anze asked the nurse if she knew their names, but not only had she never seen them, she had never even heard of them. At that moment, Anze suddenly fainted. When she woke up, she saw Ms. Kitajima. Kitajima was the teacher Anze trusted the most. Anze couldn't understand why Tojo had suddenly started ignoring her. She even felt that the letter was placed in her shoe locker by Tojo. Kitajima immediately denied it. She thought maybe it was just because it had been so long since they last saw each other. They probably just didn't know what to say. The next day, Anze returned to the castle, but only Ryan was there. He had snuck away during soccer practice. Anze told him that no one had shown up at the infirmary. Even the school nurse and teachers had never heard of their names. She began to suspect the castle wasn't real, but Ryan didn't think so. To him, Everyone here felt completely real. He then shared his wish. He wanted to bring his deceased sister back to life. The next day, everyone gathered again. Strangely, each one of them said they did go to the infirmary, but they all saw only the school nurse there, Masamune, who loved playing online games, suddenly spoke up. Maybe they were all in parallel worlds. He said this whole situation was just like the most popular game right now. The Wolf Queen suddenly appeared and said she found their theory interesting. She told them that all of them had met in the real world before, and she had actually given them several hints about the key already. Ryan suddenly remembered. There was an X mark under his bed. The others also recalled seeing similar marks, though in different places. That evening, Anze opened the mailbox and found a letter from Tojo apologizing. Soon, March arrived, and everyone grew frustrated that the key still hadn't been found. Even worse, the castle was about to shut down for good. The next day, Anze bought some snacks, thinking about their upcoming farewell. She wanted to enjoy them together with everyone. Just as she was about to enter the mirror, she heard her mother's voice. Anze didn't let her mother enter her room, and instead took the vacuum cleaner to clean it herself. Through the window, Anze saw Tojo. Tojo said that since they hadn't seen each other for a long time, she didn't know how to start the conversation. She also mentioned that she would be transferring to another school next month. It turned out that ever since Anze stopped attending school, Tojo had become Sanada's new target for bullying, but Tojo completely looked down on Sanada. She believed people like her were just seeking attention. Tojo said that when facing school bullying, one must fight back. As she was leaving, Anze noticed a photo on the wall. It was an illustration of the story The Wolf and the Seven Young Goats. Anze borrowed the picture, but just after returning home, she heard the sound of glass shattering. She rushed back and saw everyone inside the mirror. It turned out that Inoue hadn't left the castle on time and was devoured by the wolf. The others had just returned and were immediately pulled back in by the mirror. Anze was stunned. She had to find the key and save everyone. When she arrived at the castle, it was already in shambles. She started searching for clues based on the photo. Each place where the little goats had hidden had an X symbol. Suddenly, one of the symbols began to float. When she reached out to touch it, it vanished from her palm. Soon, she followed the clues in the picture and found the final X symbol. She raised her hand, trying to reach the high-up symbol. At that moment, the symbol on her palm began to glow. A floating platform appeared in front of her. When Anze stepped onto it, she saw the wish-granting key. The moment she grasped the key, she witnessed everyone's memories. It turned out each of them avoided school due to bullying. Their parents, like Anze's, were understanding. None of them forced their children to attend school. But Inoue's situation was different. During her time away from school, she had gotten a boyfriend. Her grandmother seemed to like the boy, too, but not long after, her grandmother passed away. It was then that her stepfather tried to take advantage of her. At the critical moment, the Wolf Queen sensed her danger and brought her into the castle. Inoue had sought a boyfriend to protect herself, but when she needed him the most, that boy betrayed her. Desperate, Inoue hid in the castle's wardrobe. She was too afraid to return home and face her disgusting stepfather, but the time to close the castle had come. The others couldn't find Inoue outside, so they had no choice but to leave first. But right after, they were pulled back in by the mirror. Eventually, the giant wolf inside the castle appeared. The Wolf Queen told Anze that she couldn't help them because they had broken the rules. The X symbols Anze had collected were actually everyone's heart gravestones. That's why she was able to see their memory fragments. Before leaving, the Wolf Queen told her, once she made a wish, the castle would close forever. Anze used the key and wished for everyone to come back to life. But when she saw Inoue was walking in the opposite direction. Maybe she had already lost all hope for the world. Anze ran with all her strength, breaking through countless barriers and grabbing Inoue's hand. The others also arrived and held onto Inoue together. Inoue, once filled with despair, found new hope in her friend's unwavering support. The Wolf Queen appeared before them. She said their actions had deeply moved her. Later, they discovered the truth. Even though they were in the same world, each of them was on a different timeline, separated by 7 years. Even by the year 2027, school bullying was still happening. It turned out that Anze and Ryan were on the same timeline. Because someone had made a wish, the Wolf Queen decided the castle would close today, and all their memories from this time would be erased. So everyone went back to their rooms to pack and prepare to leave. At that moment, Ryan suddenly said, "Wolf Queen, you're my sister, aren't you?" because when the music box played that day, he had felt it. They were all supposed to exist in 7-year separated timelines, except for the year 1999, which was missing, and 1999 was the year Ryan's sister had died. But the Wolf Queen didn't answer his question. Soon it was time to say goodbye. They each wrote their names on the wall. Before leaving, Inoue once again thanked Anze. Because of Anze's determination, she found the will to live on. After everyone left, Ryan made one last request to the Wolf Queen. He wanted to keep his memories of the castle. The Wolf Queen agreed and removed her mask. A few days later, the counselor Kitajima was overjoyed to hear that Anze had come to school. For some reason, every time she saw Anze, she felt an inexplicable sense of closeness, but Anze never would have thought that she herself had once been Kitajima's emotional salvation. Not long after, on her way to school, a boy was waiting for her. He introduced himself as Ryan. Anze didn't recognize him, but somehow, he still felt incredibly familiar.